Steven?
Oh, sorry.
Where the hell are you?
Sorry. I was just picking up my spoon. It was at the Vegas game. I don't know. It was on the field. I don't know how it got to the 50-yard line, but somehow the lineman spotted it and he threw it away. But I managed to get it. Sorry. I was late to the podcast.
Is that a reference I'm not understanding?
Damn it. Did you not see the Sunday Night Football game where there
Of course I watched it. There was a spoon that was thrown, though?
There was a spoon, a utensil that was thrown.
It wasn't a dildo? You sure?
I am 100% sure. You didn't see that?
No, I didn't see the spoon.
Dude, there was a utensil thrown on Sunday Night Football. It was like
I saw Pete Carroll throw his hand warmer and thinking it was a challenge flag. I didn't see the spoon, though. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, yeah. Pete Carroll was digging in his big old man pockets trying to get his challenge flag and throw out a hand warmer. Tell me about the spoon.
Yeah, there was that was going to be my biggest question up against with the Raiders and the Chiefs today, but it's like there was a utensil out on the field and Collinsworth and Michaels are trying to figure it out, and there was like a utensil on the field that the lineman just chucked because they were all at a timeout. It was at the 50-yard line, like in the middle of the field.
At what time in the game? I totally missed this.
Oh God, I can't remember what time in the game, but hey,
if it was early on, I was still at the NFL Network studio. I had to watch the game back, condensed on NFL replay.
Okay, what's this cocky ass text you send me? When I ask, hey, you watching this Steelers-Lions game? And you're like, I watch everything, Steven. Clearly you don't, because you didn't see what was...
I watch everything of importance, not a fucking spoon thrown on the field.
You're watching Steelers-Lions?
Yes. And now, I hope you're with me on this now, Steven. I hope you're with me. Ties are dumb, because you picked the Lions to win.
I'm into it.
How come? You're into ties? You're into ties. How are you into ties?
Because, how else are you supposed to end that game? You're just supposed to...
But have them play another fucking quarter. Or not a full quarter.
None of them deserved to play another quarter with the way that they were playing in that overtime. If you can't get a win there, I mean, come on.
We'll talk about it, but, I mean, come on.
Larry
Ties are
Brown
dumb.
Sports. Yeah, there was it was Quentin Jefferson, and he's holding up like a spoon.
So it was in his pants?
No, it was on the actual field.
So someone left a spoon on the Allegiant Field.
The retractable green turf. My guess
was it a plastic or was it a
it looked like
silver?
Silverware. It looked silver. Yeah.
Interesting.
It was, I mean, like I said, as the bit goes, it's this spoon.
Can you bend a spoon with your mind?
No.
What about with your hands?
No, I can't do any of that, Derek.
Oh, well,
I can't do any of that. Sorry to disappoint you.
You are disappointing me, and we're all disappointing our fans watching us. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Just Your Opinion, man. Steven, me. Let's get it going. We'll take you up to tip-off at 4:30 between the Warriors and Nets. And if you're watching TNT now, you're watching the old-fashioned great movie, Gran Torino. Get off my lawn.
Wow. Gran Torino on a censored channel. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, do you think they take all the racial slurs out now of that movie on regular broadcast television?
Probably.
I would assume so.
Yeah, maybe.
Steven, so I was going to ask you about the ties, and we'll talk about the tie and the Steelers and Lions game. But because of that pick, you were confident. You thought the Lions were going to pick the Steelers. And Saturday night, when I saw that Ben Roethlisberger got COVID and he's out for the game, I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me! Steven's going to get this pick right."
Yeah.
And the Steelers had many chances to win that game. In the end, it's a tie. And in the end, you don't get the points. I don't get the points, but I beat you because I picked the Chiefs to beat the Raiders. And we'll talk all about that game. Unfortunate. And what else did I pick? I forget, but I won. That's all that matters.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, you picked the Seahawks to beat the Packers. I thought that old A-Rod coming back would be the difference. And it was.
God, what was my mindset there? Maybe I thought that Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to come back or something.
Yeah, that's what you were banking on. And to have better accuracy with our picks, we are going to do our picks on Friday this week. You and I recorded on Thursday, new podcast dropping on Friday with a special guest. We'll talk about that later. Okay. But Steven, you got to own up to the bet this week once again. And I have a suggestion for you. Yeah. I sent you this earlier, I think yesterday. Have you seen what Applebee's is doing?
Yeah, go over it again. I just kind of sometimes gloss over your texts, during the week.
I'm not a fan of boneless wings, as you know, and you got some earlier this year.
Yeah.
They are selling for a limited time Cheeto dusted wings. They're like covered in Cheeto dust.
Yeah.
They coated in it, and that's the wings.
Yeah.
Boneless though. Not a fan of boneless, but I am willing to try this dusted and disgusted wings.
Boom. Boom.
Yeah.
I is it flaming hot? Do they have flaming hot Cheeto
Yeah, it's
flavor?
flaming hot. It's flaming hot.
Okay, well, I'm in on the flaming hot. Bring on the flaming hot, not the
Hold on, let me
regular,
pull up the text that I sent you.
cheese.
Applebee's launches new Cheetos boneless wings and cheese bites. Yep, you got flaming hot and you got regular Cheetos.
I'd be more into the flaming hot if I had to choose one.
So I don't know what you're doing today to own up to the bet, but next time you lose, you want to try this out?
Maybe
Is there an Applebee's in where do you live now? Where you living?
Campbell.
Is there an Applebee's at Campbell?
I don't know because the other one that was here, I think, shut down. So I don't know.
You got to eat good in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I know. I clearly don't. I don't eat the cheeseburger quesadilla or whatever it's called.
Is that
whatever
a thing?
it's called? What am I talking about? I'm not gonna act like I don't know anything about Applebee's. I worked there as a host for 3 months.
You did?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Summer.
So you could probably get a deal on this shit then.
No.
No.
It was 3 months and I was a host. I don't think they remember me too well. Hey, you remember me from the Livermore facility that closed down, by the way? Now it's
but now you can kind of flex nuts and just be like, hey, remember when I hosted this Applebee's? Now I host a morning show, 5 to 6.
Exactly. I have something that's not conventional with hot sauce, and that's why I think can make this interesting.
All right, bring it on.
I don't have Cheez-Its. I've been trying to cut down on the snacks, so I don't really have any of that.
Good for you. So have
I. It's not working. I've gained a shit ton of weight. I have, and this doesn't help my case at all. I have a chocolate chip Nestle cookie.
And you're gonna dip in hot sauce?
And I'm gonna put some hot sauce on it.
I'm all for this. I love it.
This is new, right?
Let's try it out. We're unconventional.
And so last week I went with the XXX, or the 2 weeks ago I went with the XXX last dab.
I texted you the day after I had that hot wing from Dave's Hot Chicken. When you're driving to work in LA and you have spicy food in your stomach from the day before, and you are praying that you get to work, not pooping your pants, that is a terrible feeling.
Yeah, 101 is going to turn into the 10 done.
You could have done better there. You could have done better there.
But I have the Apollo version.
Oh, Showtime at the Apollo?
Yes.
Let's do it.
So that's the hot sauce heatinist. This one's made with what is that? It doesn't really have anything specific. The last one had a bunch of specific stuff. It's hot as shit.
And they don't put the Scovilles on the bottle.
No, they put the Scovilles on the bottle. They don't, because they don't know what it is.
That's crazy.
Pretty irresponsible, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think so. That's their whole thing with Scovilles. How do you measure a Scoville too? It's like analytics. No one can explain it. It's like
no one knows what it is. It's just a unit of measurement that nobody understands.
It's like next gen stats, just ridiculous stuff.
Love the next gen stats. You kidding me? I'm all about the ball
carrier.
I'm
not a big fan of it, but we gotta put it in our highlights.
I'm all about the ball carrier speed, Derek. All about that.
Yeah, that's like what Herbs was talking about a couple weeks ago with all the stupid stuff, analytic stuff at baseball. Not a fan.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Are you a fan though? While you eat that while you eat that chocolate chip,
Jock, it's okay. Here we go.
All right, he's putting hot sauce on that chocolate chip cookie. What kind of cookie are we eating here?
Chocolate chip from Nestle.
Got it. Out of the box?
Yeah, one of those square ones.
Yeah.
That you just
hot. Is it hard or is it doughy?
It's very hard.
All right, I like hard cookies.
Hard. Overcooked it.
Nice.
Overcooked it.
Over easy cookie, or should I say, well done? Weird mix. Huh? Good.
Yeah. Here's a cookie.
Okay, with some hot sauce on it.
Yeah, hot sauce. Wow.
Does it kind of coat the hotness?
No.
All right. While you recover and pant, I was going to ask you this. You tweeted about this, Steven. Reese's cup pie for Thanksgiving. Would you have that?
Oh yeah. I went to the site to. Oh, this one's really going down. I went to the site to go purchase one.
Oh, really?
The link to the site, whatever news site that was. I think that was in LA.
Yeah.
And
How much are they?
They were sold out.
Oh, shit.
They were $45. The base price was $45, $44.
And that's worth it. That's worth
but
it.
then you got to factor in whatever the service fee would be.
Yeah, and shipping and all that shit. Yeah.
They're probably sending it in like a freezer of sorts that's able to move along the Interstate 5. Yeah, totally would have bought it though.
It sounds like it's worth it. You know what's not worth it though?
Huh.
One last gripe I have of just things in life. Has your phone popped up with like a notification saying, "Do you want to check if you've been exposed to COVID?" Your iPhone.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want any part of that shit. I don't want my phone telling me if I've been exposed to COVID. No, thank you.
Why not?
Because I can't trust my phone, and I know it's my phone, but things go wrong all the time. I don't want technical stuff with COVID stuff. If I feel sick and I test positive for COVID, that's how I know I have COVID. But I'm not having my iPhone backed by Apple telling me that I have COVID.
Yeah. Well, I doesn't tell you if you have COVID. It just tells
You've
you
been exposed to COVID.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell it tracks that.
Again, it's like these analytics, these next gen stats. How are they finding this shit?
But I put it on when I was at the festival just to feel better. I was like, you know what, my phone says I'm not exposed to COVID.
So you're around maskless with a shit ton of people just being like, oh, my phone tells me I don't have COVID, so I must be good.
Yeah, most of them maskless, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm all right. So it gave me a little sense of relief, and it turns out that I was all right. So you know
there
what?
You go.
Who's to say that I'm wrong? But yeah, my phone does say though that you're exposed to John Curley. That's brutal. Just standing next to.
Be nice to John Curley. Be nice. I'm sure he's listening.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, he's great. All right, Steven, should we dive into this Raider loss? Besides the spoon.
I mean, how much? That's the main question. Whose spoon was that?
Do you think Gruden left a spoon behind? You think Henry Ruggs left a spoon behind?
Oh, God, no.
Do you think Damon Arnett left a spoon behind?
Too soon. Nah, too spoon.
Oh.
Nah, dude. So, about the game.
Yeah.
We've seen it in 2019. We've seen it in 2020. And I go back to really where they just break down in the second half of the season.
Break down.
I forgot what Derek Carr's numbers are in like November and December, but they're terrible. He's just awful after the month of October. It's pretty insane, actually. It's why a lot of people lose faith in him. It's because the beginning of the season, first 8 weeks, you're all in. Then all of a sudden he has a dud, and then he has another dud followed by another dud. But that game was so reminiscent of 2020. And by that, I mean, they were in it. You know, it's not like they were it's not like it seemed like they were competing with the Chiefs. It didn't feel like they were going to win, but there's that thing in the back of your head that's like, hey, they're still in this. You know, they get a stop on defense, they get a score on offense, they could easily come back. And then the Deshaun Jackson fumble happens.
Yep.
And really, that's what turned the game around. And
I thought they played well 2.5 quarters, and then Deshaun fumbled the ball.
I go back to the Buccaneers of last season in 2020 when during the second half, I forgot what the score was, but I think they were down like 24-20. I think it was 24-20 to the Bucs, and they were in the second half, and they were still in the game.
Yeah. And
Gruden decides after the Bucs go for a 3-and-out, he decides that instead of when they're in opposing territory, and they're at what, like 4th and 2, as opposed to trying to go for it, which everyone was. The new fad was to go for it last season. It's really when everyone figured, yeah, on 4th and short, we might as well. We can do it. They were deep in Buccaneers territory. He decides to kick a field goal, and he misses the field goal. So after the missed field goal, then the Buccaneers come back and score. Then there's an interception. Then they score again. Then before you know it, it's 47-20, and everyone's looking at the score like, how the hell did the Bucs do that? But it's exactly what happened in that game against the Chiefs. It's just one mistake after another, and when it rained, it poured. So really, that was my overall takeaway of the game. Just reminds you of last season and the season prior.
I miss a spoon, but I'm with you 100%. I thought they played well for 2.5 quarters. They were in the game. The touchdown pass to Brian Edwards, and you're like, they're keeping pace with them right now. I'm not even mad that the Chiefs are scoring with Tyreek Hill. It's just like they're going to score points. I know everyone's down on their offensive late, but they came to play in this game, and I thought they were going to score some points. It was just a matter of whether or not the Raiders were going to keep pace with them, and they didn't. And everyone's given Deshaun Jackson shit for this play. It's a hell of a play.
How do you not give him shit for
it? Hang on. He didn't realize he caught the ball at first. So he breaks away. He's trying to get away from the defender, go backwards. And he's new to the team. It's his first catch, and he fumbles the ball. It happens. I don't like the comparison. If you saw our boy Q, his name, your boy Q, shout out, he tweets out that Deshaun Jackson fumble is worse than James Jones fumbling twice in the Houston Texans game.
Wow.
I don't think so. I think that is a terrible play. And no disrespect to James Jones. The Raiders, if you remember back then in 2014, had back-to-back weeks with arguably two of their worst plays. James Jones fumbles twice on a play, and the week before, Maurice Jones-Drew had the kick up in the air with the fumble. Both work at NFL Network. I probably should have run into them. But what I'm saying is that it was a bad play. But let's not let it just be like, oh, Deshaun Jackson sucks. Like he can still make a difference on this team. And I don't think this game should really put anybody that down. I think the AFC is totally up for grabs. They still have a chance to win the division. They still have a chance to make a wild card. The Chiefs seem like they're pulling away. As far as this game, yes, they played well for 2.5 quarters, and then Derek Carr did his best Matthew Stafford impression and just threw the ball up in the air on that interception. The defense had its worst game. Jonathan Abram, what are you doing on the coverage on Daryl Williams with 1 L? And Kyle Brandt had the great quote this morning. Daryl Williams with 1 L, he gave the other L to the Raiders.
You mean Daryl Women, as you just called him?
What'd I call him?
You called him Daryl Women.
Oh, did I? Whatever. Daryl Williams. Daryl Women.
How do you not get on Deshaun Jackson, though? Like, I know I'm not saying he sucks. No one's coming to any conclusions about who he is as a player. Hell, he's trying to make his way to the Hall of Fame. But when you,
I don't know about that.
He's trying. That's his aim here. He's trying to be a Hall of Fame player. But I'm looking at the play right now, and I'll turn the sound down. When you step forward with no defender in front of you, you take about 2 steps, and you look like you're running. Then you try to cut back to avoid that safety, but you cut across the field and you backtrack. Yes.
He got disoriented.
Yes, he did. How? You're running in one direction.
Not when you're Deshaun Jackson. You're running in multiple directions.
Someone tweeted out that it's like he intercepted it.
It kind of is because he didn't expect. Who was it? Was it Tyrann Mathieu that fell down on the play? And the ball just lands in his hands, and he's like, "Oh shit! I caught the pass."
Okay.
And he runs with the ball, not expecting the ball in his hands, and then it turns out he lets go of the ball.
How can you back up Deshaun in this?
It's a terrible play in that situation. They had the momentum going; they were going to score. That was a huge play. Was it third down? I think it was third down too.
It's first down.
Well, I'm way off, and so was Deshaun Jackson, but I don't think it's the worst play in the world. I do not even compare it close to James Jones fumbling twice in that Week 2 game against the Texans in 2014.
Think about that. I forgot about that. James Jones.
That was he fumbled twice. He picked up his own fumble and fumbled again. Are you kidding me?
That was amazing. I forgot about that.
Oh my god! I want to say I was doing stats for then, and my dad's calling that is just ridiculous. He fumbled again.
Yeah. Awful. But not in that game too. I'd say there are a couple of things that do worry me though, and you're right. You know, every team does have a chance, and the AFC is at a point where I don't even know who's good. I know the Bills are. I know the Bills are a pretty good team. Have they played like a good team lately? Not the best, but
Chiefs are good.
Are they? I don't know,
dude. Despite the fact that they have now looked like themselves, they've won 3 in a row, and they kicked the Raiders' ass.
But I still don't know. I still don't know. If
I think so. I think they scored 41 points.
Yeah, but they did that with a running game, and they did it against a Raiders defense who stunk. Like, I don't know. I thought
you said the Raiders defense were good.
Yeah, they were good until
Weren't they
that
playing
last
against the
game.
best pass rusher in all of football, Max Crosby?
They were awful. And I mean, Crosby was nowhere to be found. Yannick Ngakoue was nowhere to be found. The linebackers were terrible. And like you mentioned, Jonathan Abram gave up like 10 receptions on the 10 targets. And Mahomes had a perfect 158.3 passer rating when targeting him. He was awful.
Abrams got to knock down that pass against Daryl Women.
but look, dude, it's I mean, I know it's just one game, but it's more of, okay, if they do get to the playoffs, what are they really going to do? Like, what are they really going to do? Maybe win one game, then get to the divisional round? Like, what is really going to happen?
But considering everything that's happened this season, would that be that bad?
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. But also, you wonder for the future. Like, I'd say my biggest takeaway from that game is, that defense is supposed to go up against the Chiefs offense, who have been struggling. But you know what? As long as you're playing cover 2 and Travis Kelce's open underneath, you got to tackle him, and they just didn't do that.
Yeah.
But I do think that the run game, there's something wrong there with Jacobs. Like,
it's the O-line too.
It's the offensive line too, for sure. But even so, when they've been blocking well, like they didn't in that last game, but when they've been blocking well, he's able to get more than 7 carries for 16 yards, is my point, despite the offensive line.
And he's hurt too, though.
He has been hurt, and he's not the running back of the future. He's not. If you're thinking that, he's done enough to earn himself a contract after this, a big contract, hell, Kenyon Drake's been just as deadly when he's in the game. Like, at least ever since Kurt's been gone. But
hold on, with that statement, Steven, Josh Jacobs, not the running back of the future. So then you're telling me all these picks, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Abram, not good in coverage against Daryl Women, Cleveland Farrell, all for naught for Khalil Mack?
Well, Jonathan Abram wasn't involved in that. That was for the Cooper trade. So that one.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, then both of them then. Khalil and Amari.
The only one who I do see with this team, because I don't see him really costing a lot of money, and I think he'd be pretty good. But, Bryan Edwards has shown a lot these past couple of weeks ever since Ruggs has been gone. Like, Edwards has been playing a little bit better than he did ever since that Bears game. But, it just has you wondering about the future, man. It really does. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if, I don't know if Derek Carr getting another contract is worth it. I don't know if they need to sign a big name wide receiver in free agency, all of that. It's just, they're not really in a good place right now.
I know they're not, but I think it's also one game, and I know they lost 2 in a row.
2.
I know. I know. Let's talk about this last game, though. It's a pendulum swing. The Raiders were hot. The Chiefs sucked the first couple of weeks of the season. Now it's changed. That's just how the NFL goes. It's a long-ass season. That's why it's like better than college football.
Seasons of the Raiders doing this in the second half.
I understand that.
I understand that. Good in November and December.
I understand that. Who are they playing this week? I don't even know who's on their schedule.
I don't know. I haven't bothered to look.
Are you're that down the dumps about this?
Dude, they do not look like a good team right now.
I know right now, but things change. Dude, it's a week-to-week league.
You really think that? Because I thought that these past couple of seasons. I've been trying to think, it's week to week, and then they just lose and lose and lose even more. So
yeah, but I mean, it hasn't been that evident more so. Like we'll go through it, but like these crazy outcomes, it's totally a week-to-week league. They play the Bengals. I don't think you get right and play the Bengals in this week and win.
Okay.
You don't think so?
No. If anything, the Bengals are due.
They're both due. Well,
this isn't good. This is not good.
I know it's not good right now, and it's just a lot of shit piling up. It's just a lot of stuff.
All right. Well, what if they lose to the Bengals then?
Then you're in a bit of trouble. You're in a bit of trouble. You're 5-5 at that point. You're still in it, though. You're still in it. I think the goal for this season, with everything that's gone on, they lost their head coach, and they lost 2 of their first-round draft picks from 2020. I think the goal for the Raiders this season should be just make the playoffs and see what happens. And then you grow. You see if Rich Bisaccia is actually the right guy for this team. And you can no harm, no foul. I think you could also let's just say hypothetically they go 10-7, they make the playoffs and they lose in the wild card round. You can go either way on that point with me, with Rich Bisaccia coming back as head coach. But I don't think you make drastic changes. You don't need to gut this team again. You let Mayock, who knows what freedom he had in the past, you let him make the choices. I think Derek Carr has proven that he is a great leader for this team, the way he's handled himself in all the situations this season. So I know people are upset right now. I think it's just a matter of the Raiders having a ton of shit go against them right now, and the Chiefs just kind of finding their groove again. It's that time in the season where teams that were playing poorly, like the Chiefs, to get shit turned around, and teams like the Raiders or Chargers, like we'll talk about later, just coming back to reality a little bit, and you got to figure things out.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But you disagree with me.
I don't like that.
What do you mean you don't like that?
Because it's like, what's the point? You know? Like, what are they going to do? Don't gut the team. Okay, cool. Because they're not going to be a Super Bowl roster anytime soon. Like, anytime soon at all.
And you just know that, Mr. Radio Man?
Yes. You can tell. It's very easy to tell, you know?
Didn't you expect a little bit for this to happen? They're playing the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs have won 2 in a row, and the Raiders are coming through just a terrible shitstorm of off-the-field stuff. You didn't expect this to happen a little bit?
Not the thrashing that it was, no.
I don't think it was even that. Yes, it was. Yes, and the final score is a thrashing. It's 41-14. But they played with them for the majority of that game, and then the game just got away from them.
2.5 quarters. Is that a majority of the game?
I mean, yes. Mathematically.
Mathematically it is, but that's not.
If we go through the analytics and the COVID exposure, yes.
That's 2.5 quarters. Look, maybe they have just gone through too much this season, and, you know, maybe Derek Carr can be the guy. But
I think so.
But I don't know, because it's just the same old thing year after year after year. And if you can't win ball games in November and December, then what's the point?
I'm with you, Steven. If I was a diehard fan like you still, I would probably feel the same way. But just looking at this objectively.
You are.
Obviously, I had no idea about the spoon.
Yeah, how do you not know about the spoon, bro?
Dude, we should prep more. You got to text me before the show. So like, hey, man, you see the spoon? I'm opening with the spoon. Don't want to leave you hanging there.
Hey, did you see this? And then expect another text where it says, yeah, I watched everything. I see everything, Steven.
I did happen to see everything that went on in that tie, and we'll get to that. What a terrible game. But let's go switch things to the goddamn Niners pulling a huge upset against the Rams. And honestly, I'll admit this. I kind of saw this coming a little bit, but I didn't want to admit it out loud.
Why?
Because Shanahan gets up for this stuff. He loves beating McVay. He loves, because McVay is looked at as this offensive genius that can recite plays. And Shanahan is like, dude, he learned everything from my fucking dad. He learned everything from me. No one treats me like this. And I mean, Shanahan hates the media too, but he knows exactly how to beat the Rams. And it wasn't anything different last night. They ran the ball 40 times. You could have told me going into that game that was their expectation to do that. And they did it. They just ran it right down their throats. And I think this is more indicative of the Rams than it is the 49ers, because I think the Niners played very well, and this is obviously the way that they wanted things to go with Jimmy. And this is how it should look for them for the majority of the season. But I'm not expecting any big change from the Niners after this. I think they just game plan very well against the Rams. The Rams are the Rams. They came in with a huge, huge loss, in my opinion, with Robert Woods being out for the season. That is massive. Yeah. And I don't think Odell can just make that go away. I thought the Odell signing was crazy. Happened last Thursday. Was like the Max Scherzer thing of, oh, he signed with the Padres. No, he's not. He's signed with the Dodgers. He's signed with the Rams. And Adam Schefter's like, he's signing with the Rams. No one can tell me otherwise. Oh, he could be going to Green Bay. And then, of course, he signs with the Rams.
Yeah.
At that point, I thought it was a luxury to have Odell on that team. And now it's a necessity. And I don't know if he could fill that role of Robert Woods. I think the Rams get this right eventually. I think Matthew Stafford is just lost right now, just throwing crazy-ass passes. They played the exact same game plan they did last week against the Titans. just airing it out and expecting that their wide receivers are going to make better plays than the opposing team's defensive backs. And it just hasn't happened where Matthew Stafford, same exact thing, the Titans game to last night, he throws an early interception that was just ridiculous. Like you just started playing with Odell and you're going to throw that deep pass to him right away and that gets picked off by Jimmy Ward. And then he throws the pick six. So congrats to the Niners. They played a fantastic game. They did what they do against the Rams. They ran it down their throat. That first drive, Jesus Christ.
How much did it pain you to just say congrats to the Niners? My gosh.
It pained me a little bit. It pained me a little bit.
You're so salty.
Just a little bit. This
entire monologue you've been going on has just been filled with salt.
Because I kind of wanted the Rams to kick their ass. No lie. And I had Matthew Stafford going in fantasy. And good Lord, he throws 2 picks right away. Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, that opening drive, what was it? 18 plays, 93 yards, I want to say, took up a huge chunk of the drive. The Rams just they knew what to do against them, just running the ball down their throats. They made it 3rd and shorts all the time, 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s. They converted those easily. The best way to get Aaron Donald and Von Miller off the field is just run away from them or run it right at them if you're George Kittle, just blocking the hell out of Von Miller. I do think the Rams will be a good team. Watch them turn it around at the bye week, and we'll see where it goes.
That Kittle pancake block is great and all on Von Miller, but the play was a stuffed run. Like, he did his part, sure, but the run was still stuffed. It's not like it's not like their team did their part. So I get the whole I get the love for it. I get everyone loves when a tight end like that blocks for and pancakes for him. But if the play's kind of dead, I don't know. I guess that's just my way of thinking. And maybe football guys are just like, yeah, he won on that rep, but the team didn't. So I kind of look at that with a little.
Look at you. You're just as salty as me trying to find the flaws in this.
No, I thought that Jimmy Garoppolo that's about as good as you're going to see him. Like, that's it. He went to his one strength, which is throwing the crossing routes. Like, that's it. And he threw it in these windows, which were so small. Like, next gen stats, baby. If you look at the average amount of
brought to you by AWS.
If you look at the amount of separation that the wide receivers got from the people who were or the corners, on average, Debo got 0 yards of separation every time that he was targeted. Granted, it wasn't that many times. I mean, it was 9 times he was targeted in that game, but each time, on average, there were 0 yards of separation between him and the defender. And that tells me that Debo made a nice catch, but also Garoppolo was throwing it in spaces where it like you just wouldn't expect it. So I thought he was fantastic, especially on 3rd down too. That's been their struggles, is how woeful and terrible they are on 3rd down. And I thought that the run game wasn't really that great in the second half. In the first half, it was awesome, but because they're rotating between guys, they're using Debo, they're using Jeff Wilson, and I think they gave Jeff Wilson like 10 carries. He only had 28 yards, but it was good to see him back on the field. And they gave Debo the 5, and they ran the ball overall 44 times. But I also thought, though, the Rams did not play their best game of football. I think the 49ers just about, like, I was trying to go through it because, we always look at teams just individually. We always say, oh, this team messed up. This team messed up. It was their own fault. They did this. They did that. And I don't think we look enough at what the opposing team did to force them into that situation. Like, I was thinking, the drop passes, those were all the Rams' fault. Like, every single one was the Rams' fault. Clearly the one on Tyler Higbee when they're not even, they're barely even playing into the game. Clearly that was on Higbee. But also I think a lot of those drop passes were just the result of the defense going out there and hitting the crap out of them.
Yeah. Like the Cooper Kupp one he dropped on 3rd down. Yeah.
Like hearing footsteps, man. So I think I was really going back and forth on that because I was sitting there last night and I was like, I think the Rams might have lost that game more than the 49ers actually won that game. And then I came to, and I was thinking, okay, you know what? No, the 49ers get a lot of credit. And you know what? They had their worst game at home against Arizona. I think that lit a fire under them. We'll see how they do against Jacksonville. I hate that saying. We'll see how they do against the next team. But
that's true though.
This is where it gets interesting because they haven't had to do a lot of traveling as far as I know this season. The travel schedule has not been very deep, but now you got to go from coast to coast to coast, like this stretch that they got going. I think the Bengals game is going to be a very interesting one because that's like right at the end of this East Coast, West Coast road trip that they're going on. So look, it was a good game. I don't think, and that's the interesting part about this morning. Not a lot of Niner fans are, talking Super Bowl. This really is the 2019 team. I think a lot were just looking at it like, no, that was one game. I needed to see more. I really think that's how a lot of 49er fans looked at it.
And as they should, because they're only 4-5 right now, and they still have a lot of ground to make up to get to a wild card. Well, I guess they're in the mix right now, but nothing's guaranteed. I agree. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think that the 49ers, it was just one game. And they have a kind of an easy stretch here, with the exception of, I think, the Bengals game. And I think they play the Titans, I think, later on in the season. But they have a few games that they should win on paper. I want to say they play the Jacksonville and then they play the Vikings after this. So they'll have a tough time with that one.
Yeah, Jacksonville at Minnesota. And Minnesota, you could bet like they are going to be out for blood. And they've actually been playing some a pretty decent brand of football, if I'm not
mistaken. Beat the Chargers up in LA.
Yeah. So I'm also like the reason why I'm so down on the Raiders is because I've seen it year after year after year at this point. Whereas all these other teams, it feels like it's just a week to week thing. And that's how it feels with the Niners. And this is where it gets interesting, though. This is where it gets interesting because this was the one game where if Jimmy, if Jimmy didn't play as well as he did, the 15 for 19 for 120 yards, whatever it is, like it would have been all Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo. And there's still time for that. Like if they don't win in this game against Jacksonville, like that should be Kyle Shanahan's motivation right there. Clearly he didn't want to start Lance from the jump. He wanted to redshirt him in a way. Like I think Kyle Shanahan's main motivation of being Jacksonville is not only staying within the NFC playoff picture, but just so he doesn't have to answer a week's worth of will Trey Lance start questions. Like that's where it's at.
Well, yeah, and they proved that though. Kyle and Jimmy have been through a lot of shit lately, being like, how come Trey isn't playing? Jimmy's playing like crap. Yeah. I don't think he's been playing like crap, but I have a question why they haven't gone to Trey. And you could say what you want, but last night was the reason why they haven't gone to Trey. Trey doesn't know how to manage a game like that, like the way Jimmy did last night.
Yeah.
And Jimmy was maybe one of his best games as a Niner. Pretty flawless, I would say. The exception of a few plays here or there, but touchdown to George Kittle, the crossing route on fourth down to Deebo Samuel. Deebo is by far their best playmaker right now. George is a great, blocker and motivator and obviously a great pass catcher, but if you need a big play, you go to Deebo Samuel on the team right now.
Dude, how would you stack him up against wide receivers who you enjoy watching? Like if you had to, because right now, dude, like maybe it's just my bias and the fact that I've been, paying attention and watching every single game intently. Like I'm not watching every Vikings game, so I don't know really how much fun it is to watch Justin Jefferson on a weekly basis. I mean, I know he's great. I mean, who's another one that I'm thinking of? CeeDee Lamb with the Cowboys. Like that dude's a lot of fun to watch. He gets a lot of yards after the catch too. But man, when Deebo gets the ball in his hands, it's hard to find a more exciting player. Like that dude just stumbles through people, and it's like he's a brick, man. He's the juggernaut, and he just runs. The catch.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch.
Exactly. The catch that he made, where like 3 defenders bounced off of him, and he got like a 19-yard first down out of it. Yeah. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And then the execution on the run plays when he was in the game was far better for some reason than when like Mitchell or Wilson was in. I mean, if you watch his touchdown run, there's like 5 Rams on the ground thanks to the offensive line. But where is Deebo for you up there in terms of like exciting wide receivers to watch?
Well, as you said, Steven, I watch the whole league. I watch everything. So
you do.
compared to the other guys in the league, I would say that
you watch way more like regular NFL than I do. I try and keep up with the highlights and stuff, but you're probably more inclined to watch, entire games and stuff, which I am. But I don't always get to watch these star wide receivers on a weekly basis.
well, I would say that Debo is probably more versatile than them. I don't think anybody in the league can play like Debo Samuel right now. He is equal parts a great wide receiver and can run the ball like a running back. And you could say, well, Cordero Patterson does that. Not to the same effect. Cordero Patterson is an okay wide receiver and an okay running back, but he gets a lot of catches and gets a lot of yards and gets a lot of touchdowns this season. Debo is just a great athlete all around, in my opinion. I don't think Debo has the same flash as some of these other guys like Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb, where they can go up and
it's not like he's high pointing the ball.
No, but he's a great all around wide receiver, and I think he's having a Pro Bowl season, obviously. So we'll see where it goes. But the main takeaway from the game last night is just Jimmy played a great game, and this is why he's starting right now. And you can make the argument if they keep losing to go to Trey Lance, but I think he's earned the right to keep playing. Yeah. Kyle also proved why he has this job, and he likes to beat the crap out of the Rams and specifically Sean McVay and that team. The Rams, they have a lot of flashy names right now with Odell and Von Miller and everybody else on their team. The Robert Woods injury is a big deal, in my opinion. They got to overcome it, and I think the bye week will do them good. And they just got to figure out how to run that offense because you got to get Odell up to speed. It was just, it was fun the first couple plays. He caught the first pass. But you really got to get him going now because he's now a necessity more than a luxury on this team.
Yeah, and well, that's the interesting part to me because look, I'm not trying to take away from Robert Woods. I love Robert Woods. I think he's a fantastic player. Like he's just that perfect number 2 receiver. He's not a number 1, but he's that perfect number 2 who can give you those options with the jet sweeps. He can run with the ball in his hands, all those different things. But if Odell Beckham is so great, if he's the best wide receiver this past decade, whatever, right, if he's one of them, if he's up there. If
he had the best play of the decade, arguably.
Yeah, but he's still a great wide receiver, though, at least when he was with the Giants.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that make you think, man, were you really that good if you can't at least pick up some of the slack that's left with Robert Woods off the roster? I know Woods is good, but it's
just different, though.
It's not like he's doing anything revolutionary. He's doing stuff that a good wide receiver should be able to do. And if OBJ can't pick up that slack, then, I think that's an indictment on OBJ. Huge indictment on him.
Well, yes and no. I feel like Robert Woods does things that Odell can't. I think Cooper Kupp could do those things. Like we're talking about with Debo, how he's versatile as a wide receiver and running back. Yeah. Robert Woods runs those reverses, those jet sweeps very well. And the real reason Cooper Kupp's an amazing wide receiver, is he a number 1? It's like saying Wes Welker's a number 1 for Tom Brady. It's just different. Like Odell probably will be the number 1 guy, but your safety net is Cooper Kupp, even though that's crazy to say that, even though he's leading the league in every category when it comes to wide receivers. But Robert Woods, what he brought to the Rams was just versatility and taking away, the defenders were focused more on him, like it or not, more than Cooper Kupp. And that's just, I think it's going to be different now. I think they got to change their offense a little bit. I think they got to run the ball a lot more. Their defense has got to stop the run because you can have all the playmakers you want. You can have Von Miller, you can have Aaron Donald, you can have Leonard Floyd, you can have Jalen Ramsey. But if you can't stop the run, then you're not going to stop anybody.
No, not at all. And I don't even, the fact that something last night told me, and when I'm seeing Jalen Ramsey yelling at Raheem Morris, his defensive coordinator, on the sideline, clearly the 49ers were just pulling stuff out of the hat that they had not prepared for during the week. Like, my guess is what he was yelling about was, what are they doing, man? Like, that's not what you showed us on film, like that kind of thing. I imagine that's what it was about. Frustration at a defensive coordinator. It has to go with preparation, right?
Well, I think that the defense that they were running was not conducive to stopping the run. And Jalen's just like, man, like, I really don't know. I can't break it down with the all-22, but I just think that he was probably arguing at Raheem, saying, you're not putting us in a good position for us getting our ass kicked right now. We can't stop Elijah Mitchell, who broke a finger today. We'll see what happens to him.
That's wild.
Yeah. but he's been beat up and still running. So we'll see. He could possibly play this weekend against Jacksonville. But I just think Jalen Ramsey's just arguing with Raheem Morris that they're not putting the defense in the right position to get stops right now. And I'm not going to freak out. I don't know why I'm acting like I'm such a big Rams fan, but I think it's just the expectation is that we expect them to be a lot better than what they're showing right now. So if I had to guess, and if I'm going to go radio guy here, I would not be the least bit surprised if this bye week is a huge, huge pick-me-up for the Rams, and they don't lose another game from here. And that last night is the low point of their America's Game documentary.
That'd be wild. Nice. Wow. They're going to get in. So you're saying they're going to win the Super Bowl?
I hate the tweets and all that shit, but living here and being around it, they are all in. We got to win the Super Bowl this year. And if we don't, it's a huge, huge embarrassment and failure. That's why they got Stafford. That's why they got Vaughn. That's why they got Odell.
Yeah. And with the way that sports is kind of poetic, oddly, I think that
they failed.
That last game in LA, where it's going to be Rams and the Niners, I think there are going to be some ramifications there.
Oh, for the Ramley?
We haven't talked about this yet, but we missed out on what was possibly one of the greatest interceptions of all time that was negated due to penalty. The Goochception with K'Wan Williams.
I am so glad that you used that term because I was going to say that. I was going to say that exact same thing. If anyone knows, the gooch is the area located from your beanbag to your bunghole. That's the gooch.
Exactly the term used in Jackass, too.
Yes. I was thinking the exact same thing. Was watching that? Watching Manning cast. I didn't watch the broadcast. I watched like the best of. But Peyton Manning being like, "Oh, you got to get the ball. It's on his upper thigh or his bootius maximus. It's the gooch." Was it K'Wan Williams?
Yeah.
K'Wan Williams caught the ball with his gooch, and it was negated. A negated gooch catch.
That was like the butt fumble almost had an ugly cousin, or I guess the butt fumble would have been the ugly cousin since that was bad. That would have been like the estranged cousin in the butt family of the butt plays that have been made. Has there been a butt catch at all?
The closest thing I can remember. Yeah, there definitely hasn't been a goochception, but the closest thing I can remember is Antonio Freeman 20 years ago catching the ball off the ricochet off his butt. It was an overtime game against the Packers and Vikings in which Al Michaels said he did what?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that was unbelievable. I thought he made that. I really thought he made that goochception.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
I knew the penalty was coming, but catching that ball on the gooch was pretty impressive.
I was gonna tweet it out, and this is the reason why you hate Twitter. But everyone uses it as like a platform to get their take out before anyone else. The joke out before anyone else. Like that's kind of the point of it now. At least when you're tweeting live in game. And shout out to Grant Code. Grant Code went up a few notches in my book.
He tweeted out the gooch. Steven, you're freezing up on me again. I guess we'll never know what Grant Cohn tweeted. All right. Well, while Steven comes back, hopefully. Steven, you there? Yeah. Well, anyway, once Steven returns, we'll talk about that. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about what happened in the NFL this past week. So I know Niner fans don't want to go back to this, but Mac Jones looked really good, like really fucking good with the Patriots. All right, hang on here. Let me figure out what's going on with Steven. Yeah, Steven's gone. All right. When he gets back, we'll talk more as I sing and dance. Oh, here comes Steven.
Sorry.
No, you're all good.
What
a great code tweet. We're waiting for this.
He caught it with his gooch.
Okay, I totally missed that.
I was like, my man.
Props to Grant Cohn for that tweet.
I'm just saying, I was really glad that he tweeted it out because I was just thinking he caught it with his gooch. Manning.
I was really expecting my dad to just say that. Intercepted by K'Wan Williams with the gooch.
Yeah.
And then Tim Ryan, oh, dude, caught it with the gooch.
Yeah, it's like you have a gooch punt.
Not the top of my head.
Yikes.
Over the top of
So,
my gooch.
that Manning cast,
Let's talk about this.
we always talk about it every week, right? And
When it's on. I didn't watch it last night though. I just caught the best of clips.
And like the fact that it was pretty funny because, with that 18-play drive, they pretty much ran the entire clock out of that first quarter, and they only had like a minute 50 left when they could bring Al Michaels on, and they're supposed to bring him in with, like 7 or 8 minutes left in the first quarter. They're expecting a little pause in the game there. But Phil Mickelson was fantastic as a guest. Like, my God.
Didn't see a lot of Phil.
Oh, watch the entire thing if you can. I'm sure someone's going to post it because
it's somewhere.
Dude, he was like prepared. He had questions. He was just interviewing Peyton and Eli the entire time. And then he would also bring in some in-game stuff. But oh man, what was it? He was talking about he was talking about Eli and the amount of, like, he used all these stats about the amount of games that he's played in his career, never having an injury, blah, 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 and all these different things. And he's like throwing out all these numbers. And then he's like, but your brother Peyton, he's been out with injury a few times. And he's like, so Eli, I have a question. Is your brother soft?
That's pretty good.
And he's just, he's just throwing out really good questions. Though.
Manning gets dug through on this Manning cast. Draymond Green throwing shade at him.
Well, he was asked to do that. He's like, hey,
no, I know. I'm joking, but they also film him while he's eating.
Yeah,
which also is like this. It's funny, but like,
yeah, it's not that great. It's like, hey, Peyton, use a fork.
Like, or a spoon that's thrown on the field.
Is that the best you got, Eli? Like, they need to take a step up, though, I will say, in production. They could do like a lot more than just these two sitting there watching a game. I don't know what it is. They need to have like their own halftime show or something. I know they show like the ESPN broadcast, but I think they could do even more with what they got going now besides just, we'll watch the game and bring a guest on, watch the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like, it's just like a podcast. It's them just sitting around watching the game and bringing in guests. But the first guest was an interesting one, Steven. Wouldn't you say it's interesting that they had Al Michaels on the broadcast with them? They're a good buddy, Al Michaels, that eventually will be the play-by-play guy with them next season.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think it is.
I don't think so.
All right. Draymond Green was on with them, and of course they talked about the Manning curse. So obviously we're all going to say that if the Warriors lose tonight, that it's because of that interview last night, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I already did.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But Draymond was good. Draymond, shot the shit with them, except when his little connector did it with the old Charlie Brown while he's trying to plug his podcast.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I imagine
great timing.
I imagine like Colin Cowherd sitting there going, all right, how can I get my 15 producers to write a script for me about this?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure ESPN, with the mention of Colin Cowherd, was like, pot it down.
Yeah. Draymond was great.
Yeah, no, Draymond's great, and he's gonna have his own podcast. I thought he already did. Wasn't that the KD interview?
No, that was
Chips.
That was KD's podcast, I think.
That was KD's podcast. No, it's Draymond. He was interviewing him.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk more about KD and Draymond a little bit.
It could have been like, because it could have just.
I think it's Draymond's.
It could have just been that podcast is going to be a part of Colin Cowherd's podcast network.
I want to say it was part of TNT or something.
Oh.
By the way, we're less than 30 minutes away from tip-off here as we see KD warming up against the Warriors. And we'll talk about that game in a little bit here. But real quick, just to end up the Manning cast, I love Phillip Rivers, if you saw that interview. Not the best one, but Phillip he told a Lorenzo Neal story. He talked about how Lorenzo Neal told him that he could be the best quarterback in the world if he worked on his abs.
Yeah.
And Peyton Manning couldn't give a shit. Because my favorite thing about the Manning cast when they have guests on is the guest trying to be funny, telling them stories, and Peyton just going, yep. I'm hearing your story, man, but I'm really paying attention to the football.
Yeah.
Favorite part of Manning cast.
Phillip was so dull though because he had his entire family sleeping in the house. He didn't want to wake any of the kids.
He was at his high school, Steven.
Really?
Yeah.
Why was he so quiet then?
Because he was in the locker room, I want to say.
Can you imagine how animated he gets during his family wiffle ball games.
Yeah, I'm sure, because from his mic'd up days when he used to call out Larondo McClain, that's a bad blitz. That's a bad blitz right there. I'm sure he calls out his 9 children. That's a bad pitch right there, son.
Yeah. He just like shows them out every single game. That'd be so funny to watch.
I would be interested if I was the Saints, if they start just losing a shit ton of games here, to just give him a ring and say, "Are you done coaching this season? Do you want to come back and play a little bit?"
I would not be into that.
Why not?
I'm not sitting here acting like, yeah, I've missed Phillip Rivers in the league. I need Phillip Rivers back. Same with Drew Brees. We're moving on.
I know you don't want to see them again because Phillip Rivers used to kick our ass as Raider fans. But if you're the Saints, don't you have to do your due diligence and give them a call?
Is there not another quarterback out there you can call? Like, is there not?
No, Cam Newton's back for the Panthers. Yeah. Let's talk about the NFL Week 10 stuff for a second. I was talking about this while I was trying to tap dance while you left me. Mac Jones. Are we ready to say that the Niners made a mistake here?
You being the
he looks great
right now, people. Like, come on, man. Are you serious?
In time, Trey Lance could be better, and he probably will be. But for the here and now, Mac Jones is playing the best quarterback of any rookie right now.
Yeah.
That touchdown pass he threw to Kendrick Bourne, pro throw. The loft he threw on 3rd and 9 to Jacoby Myers, pro throw. Yeah. He looks great.
He does.
And in the long run, he may not be the best quarterback amongst all these QBs. But for the here and now, for the guy that was ready to play and everyone was like mocking him, look at this guy. Oh, he's fat. He is playing great.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that he is, because that was getting to the point where people are just like insulting him, Like, it got personal for that guy.
It did, because everyone saw that photo of him in his tidy whities being like, you can't have this guy be the quarterback.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Have you ever seen Joe Montana's legs?
Do you remember the reaction when Justin Fields was shirtless doing his pro day, and then Mac Jones had his pro day, and they were trying to show like the faces of
means
coaches?
Nothing.
In this era when everyone is complaining about how people try to manipulate stories so that they can fit their narrative. My God, was everyone doing that with Mac Jones? I'm really happy that he's doing well in that game, because I do my Week 10 all Sunday team on Monday, every Monday on the pregame show from 5 to 6 on 95.7 The Game. Mac Jones was right up there until Mahomes absolutely lit up the Raiders. But Mac Jones was not only the best rookie QB, he was one of, if not the best QB of the week so far. He had
great throws.
You could put him up there with Josh Allen, but the throws that he was making, just very impressive from Mac Jones.
Yeah, and I was surprised because you took the Patriots in the game. I took the Browns, and the Browns just got their ass kicked. And the Patriots they're back to what they do. So it'll be interesting to see how them and the Bills kind of fight it out for the AFC East.
That's amazing. That's amazing that the Patriots can possibly climb their way back. Everyone is saying that in free agency, if you make the amount of sightings that you make the way that the Patriots did, well, you're making those out of desperation. Seems like it's working out so far right now with Matthew Judon on one side, and then you got Mac Jones on the other. Wow.
Hunter Henry making all the touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. It was, and then that was a pretty cool moment. Because that's what's funny about sports in general. Everyone's so happy for Jacoby Myers scoring his first touchdown of his career. I think it was Jacoby Myers, right?
Yep, it was. Yep.
Yeah. Like, has people not just been crapping on him for the entire time, saying the Patriots don't have any wide receivers? Jacoby Myers isn't it? That all of a sudden,
as soon as he scores, everybody's like, "Good for you, Jacoby!" Oh yeah,
I'm so happy for him. It's not like I didn't say you weren't an NFL wide receiver last year when I had you in fantasy and thought you'd do more.
That's the biggest thing that everybody was happy about. Because people have started him in their fantasy lineups and no touchdowns, and all the fantasy people are like, "Fantastic, he scored! Yay!"
Yeah, but that was pretty cool.
It was.
I'm watching. I'm enjoying watching Mac Jones' rookie season. I want to, and everyone's kind of comparing it to Baker Mayfield and how Baker looked like the best quarterback out of that draft class with Lamar and Josh Allen as the number 1 overall pick. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, they're doing it in different ways, though.
Yeah, no, they are. Mac Jones is leading the team, too, and there's a reason why they cut Cam Newton for Mac Jones. Speaking of Cam, he's back with the Panthers. he didn't start the game, but he had Trey Lance packages, and everyone's acting like he's back. And if I was the Panthers, I would pump the brakes on starting him, because while he ran for a touchdown and he threw for a touchdown, he didn't do like what else did he do? Like you really want him to run the offense right now? They won the game with PJ Walker 34-10 over the Cardinals. And that's a bad loss for the Cardinals
and
too. Christian McCaffrey, yeah.
Yeah, he was fantastic. You know when Cam Newton's going to be back, I wonder if he'll be saying that same thing to the camera when he's in the fourth quarter and he's down by a touchdown and he just tries to do too much and then he ends up fumbling the football. That's when you know that this version of Cam Newton, I'm back. Like that's what he's back.
He sounded like Kyle's cousin from South Park. I'm back.
Although it's pretty cool. That dude has he has so much swag when he does things. Like everything he does is just so cool.
What I'm about to say may piss you off.
Okay.
And this may be very old man, get off my lawn thing.
Yeah, even though you're not an old man. It's weird.
Thank you.
You really want to be, though.
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be the best old man version of me. We played that highlight over and over and over and over again of Cam Newton scoring and him screaming, I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
He also got a penalty for that because he took his helmet off and screamed it.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that? How he put his team in a bad position right after that? I know it's very old man of me to be like, oh, he's back. He scored a touchdown, but he didn't do a good thing. Is that, am I wrong there?
How bad of a position is it really putting your team?
A 15-yard penalty on the kickoff.
That's okay.
All right. And then if the Cardinals, I know it didn't happen. I just thought it was like, well, dude, what are you doing there?
That's not old man take. That's just bad judgment take.
Bad judgment take for him or me?
For you. Who cares?
It's bad. Dude, leave your helmet on. That's all I'm saying. You could scream. You can say I'm back, which you're really not. Did you start the game? No.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting next week when Ron Rivera goes up against Cam Newton and he just knows how to beat him. And I think they're quick to just go back to Cam Newton like that. I know he played well with the Trey Lance lineup Trey Lance package he was in, but
why is it a Trey Lance package? Isn't it just like I'm calling it the Marcus Mariota package? Mariota was doing it before.
No, look at you getting mad about that.
I mean, come on, Trey Lance. He's not even playing in the game. But
fair enough.
You know what though? That's going to be interesting. I didn't even I remember them saying that on the broadcast. I think I don't remember. I wasn't watching
Mark Sanchez.
I think it was because I was watching Washington versus Tampa Bay. And Mark Schlereth was on there, and he's saying, Riverboat Ron going on his way to face the Carolina Panthers. We'll see if they can actually muster up another 18-play drive that's costs 10 minutes of the fourth quarter. Washington doing that against Tampa Bay. Very impressive.
And Taylor Heineke getting revenge on Tom Brady as the Patriots drop a game too. We just having weird outcomes. The Ravens lose to the Dolphins on Thursday night. That happened to Brady. The tie, I mean, good Lord. The Steelers just pissed that game away with the 2 turnovers in the overtime period, the fumble by Dante Johnson and
the
Pat
snap.
Vermouth.
Pat Firemouth, yeah.
Firemouth, whatever. Vermouth, whatever.
Yeah.
They deserve to tie, and it's a bad loss. It's a loss. It's a loss for both teams. My favorite thing, though, is like Dan Campbell and everybody's been like, I don't know how to feel after this. Yeah, it's weird. It's a fucking tie. But Najee Harris, I was with you last week when you corrected Steve Levy on sleeping on a bed. You don't know the rules of overtime? You don't know there's a tie could happen? These guys got to know the rules of football. Did you hear about that? Najee Harris was like, I was ready to go back in, and then I was told it was a tie.
Yeah, I did, but I don't feel one way or another about it.
These guys, you should know the rules.
It's true, but Najee's at a point where he's played at Alabama. He hasn't even thought, oh, yeah, maybe I should know what it's like to...
You're playing for the Steelers now, man. This is the NFL. You got to know the rules. After overtime, there is no overtime.
Well, you live and you learn.
Stupid. Should always play more. Hate ties.
You live and you learn. I
hate ties, Steven.
Oh,
fucking hate them. You're just trying to get my goat, and I hate using that word.
If every game could be a tie, I'd do it. If every game could be if every team at the end of the season could be 0-16 and we're just 17, damn it. And if every team could be 0-17 by the end of the season and you're just having to decide this on tiebreakers, love that.
You just love mayhem.
Yeah.
You're like the old Allstate guy, Mayhem. Was it Allstate?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Mayhem. Love Mayhem.
Speaking of Mayhem, are the Chargers frauds?
I don't know. I haven't watched them lately, to be honest with you. I've just
Well, they're
seeing...
1-3 since that. I want to say since their win against the Raiders.
Yeah, and I wish I could give you like a proper assessment of them. I've just been watching from afar and seeing highlights, and the thing that stuck out the most is just the fact that the offense isn't run the same way, and I don't really know what's up with their defense right now either. Have guys been hurt? Like, what's the answer here?
I think they're just not playing well. They eked out a win last week against the Eagles. They get shit stomped by the Ravens. They lose to the Patriots, and then they lose to the Vikings. And kind of like with the same thing with the Rams, they're just getting outplayed by more physical teams. So there you have it. The LA teams are soft. They're just a soft bunch.
Yeah, really, ever since that game against Cleveland, man, that's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was the Cleveland game. Yeah, it was the Cleveland game. They went 3-1. They beat the Raiders, and that's what happened.
Yeah, then they got the crap kicked out of them by the Ravens, and we're just looking at that like, oh well, they had that slobber knocker against the Browns. That's just kind of a throwaway game. Then they lose to the Pats, and then they lose or they beat the Eagles barely, and then they lose to the Vikings. Yeah, I really wish I could give you more of an answer here for the Chargers. I don't know. I haven't watched as much as I need to.
That's fine. You're just, lazy. It's all good. And then the Packers win 17-0. No thanks to Aaron Rodgers. And even though he played very well, he just didn't throw a touchdown pass. Aaron Jones gets injured. A.J. Dillon will now fill in, and he scored 2 touchdowns. And the Packers defense, I think it was more so that Russell Wilson was rusty as hell. But the Packers defense has been playing very well lately. So if I had to pick a team that's the best in the NFC, I would say them right now.
You choose the Packers, huh?
I would.
Interesting.
It could go all out the door when the Rams come off their bye and they play the Packers Thanksgiving weekend, which I think is going to be an incredible game.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. But that's the thing, dude. I don't know. I think personally,
that was last week's episode, Steven.
This is just me. I'd probably right now in the NFC, if I had to take one team, I'd probably take not the Packers. I'd probably take the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys, look, they've been kicking the crap out of teams lately, and I know they didn't exactly do that. Who was that against the who
Falcons?
Was that? The Falcons. Yeah, they didn't exactly do that, but the Cowboys, I've really liked.
They killed the Falcons.
I really like. Hang on, no, they killed the Falcons 43-3. I'm looking at their schedule right now.
Oh, they lost the Broncos the week before.
Correct, but all these other teams that they've beaten: the Vikings 20-16. Patriots 35-29, Giants 44-20, Panthers 36-28, Eagles 41-21, Chargers 20-17. They lost to the Bucs on that week 1 by 2 points. Like right now, I'd probably take the Cowboys just because I think Dak Prescott is playing like one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL right now. He's been that good. And I really like their team and everyone on defense. Trevon Diggs, he gets a lot of the notoriety, but Jordan Lewis had a fantastic game. The other corner on the opposite side against Matt Ryan. Micah Parsons is, now that they put him at edge rusher, he's awesome. I'd probably choose the Cowboys as the top team in the NFC for me.
Interesting. I don't know if I'm there right yet. I know they play the Chiefs this weekend, and it's going to be a huge game. We'll see how they stack up against the Chiefs. But
just nobody get hurt before that. It feels like we've been robbed of so many good matchups. Like we had the
COVID.
We had the Packers and the Chiefs. And that's when Aaron Rodgers and that whole thing happened. Now we got the Cowboys and the Chiefs.
It's been mostly COVID and another good game this week, kind of. Well, it's a good game. They're all good games, Steven.
No, they're not.
Sunday Night Football, Steelers and Chargers. We'll see if Ben Roethlisberger plays. But now Joey Bosa's on the COVID list, so we'll see if he even plays too.
Oh, is he really? I didn't even see that.
Unfortunately. Let's wrap this up, Steven. Coming up after we're done here, the Warriors play the Brooklyn Nets as they go against their former teammate Kevin Durant in the Brooklyns. And this is interesting because the Warriors, you like my ODB reference?
That was awful.
Shame on you.
No, it was a great reference. It was just the way that you said it. Good Lord.
Brooklyns. Shame on you when you stepped. All right. The Warriors are 11-2. I don't even know what the Brooklyn Nets record is right now, but this is kind of not a big game. It's earlier in the season. Obviously, with the history, it's big, and it's on TNT with Ernie Johnson and the rest of the guys. But this is kind of a test to see if I didn't want to do this the last couple of weeks because we did that basketball podcast where we talked about who we think is going to be in the finals, and before I made my pick, I thought it was going to be the Lakers and Nets. There was a part of me that was like, I like the Warriors a lot this year. I kind of want to pick them, but I think it's too crazy. It could be an NBA Finals preview. No idea. We got a lot of basketball to play since, going to that point. But I think that if the Warriors, this is a different team than last season. They got their asses kicked twice by the Brooklyn Nets last season. And we'll just see how they stack up, that if they can handle some of the best teams in the East.
Yeah, the one thing that I'm going to be watching for in this game is just watching Harden flail on these foul calls and then complain about it. I really can't wait for all of that.
And Draymond's going to be in his face.
Normally, the Warriors do a pretty good job of guarding Harden. At least I'd like to think so. But whenever I do see him go on scoring outbursts, it's in a way which I hate. And that is just looking for the foul. So that's really the one thing I'm looking for tonight. But also, Kuminga is one to keep an eye on. Kuminga, in this past weekend, Friday night against the Bulls, he had 16 minutes. Sunday against the Hornets, he had 9 minutes. And I know that's an incredibly small sample size. But in those minutes, you've seen the effect that he has on this game. And, I know you're probably going to hate this. And we've been doing that a lot all show today. It's like, I know you're probably going to hate this, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I'm not trying to say good Lord.
Oh, I hate it already, Steven. Turn your phone off, damn it.
You know who's calling me?
Jess.
John Curley.
Oh.
So,
yeah. Now I love it.
Can't you see him live, John? I'm going to send him the link. But in these past two games, I'm not saying he's more talented than Wiseman. I'm not saying any of that. But in these two games, Kuminga has looked very comfortable for a 19-year-old. It doesn't look like he's been too flustered out there. And he's played against two very good. The Chicago Bulls are a threat this year. They're going to be around in the East if they stay healthy.
At the top of the East, though?
Maybe. I think they can be a top 4 team.
Okay.
And then, against the Hornets, who are still very young, but they're very explosive offensively. On defense, Kuminga has been fantastic. And then offensively, it looks like he's done pretty well in taking advantage of when Steph's double teamed. I don't know how much he faced that with the G League Ignite, but as a 19-year-old, very impressive. It's not just these past two games. It's also the games that he's been in so far. He looks like he belongs. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing from them. And, it's a scrappy team, man. They're a lot of fun to watch. I want to see Steph drop 40 tonight. That'd be awesome. I'm really excited for it, though. I love watching Kevin Durant play, too, even though he's not the Warriors. He's awesome.
You still root for KD?
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, Warrior fans need to stop being bitter about him. I love that, he was with us for however long, 3 seasons, and we had success, but still root for him. Don't know if I root for the other guys on the team, but
there's one guy who looks like KD a little bit, and I don't know if you paid attention to him.
Who?
A very, very young KD. But this Evan Mobley guy on the Cavs, I've been watching a little bit of them on League Pass because they were 9-5 prior to last night or something like that. This Evan Mobley guy, the rookie out of USC, this dude is 7 feet, can shoot the basketball, moves a lot like Kevin Durant, tall and thin. Watch him play next time. I want to see if you watch him play it all this week and we do another podcast, I want to see if you possibly agree with that assessment.
I think the Warriors are playing the Cavs on Friday, so next podcast we'll talk about it.
Yeah. All on this road trip.
I didn't watch the Hornets game because it was on Sunday and I was doing football stuff. But last week, just real quick, the T-Wolves game, just the Andrew Wiggins. Let's stop with the trade rumors. He's a part of this team. The dunk he had, the way he just took over that game, fantastic. Gary Payton, the 2. I know there's a junior. You don't want to get the 2 confused. Literally, he's just a fantastic defender and just can dunk like no other. And I saw on one of the broadcasts that people refer to him. It's Glove 2, GP 2, and sometimes he's referred to as the Midden instead of the Glove. Who the hell's calling him that?
Nobody. This is
You
where
don't
you're
you don't you
misguided.
don't call a grown man midden.
I think this is where you're misguided.
I looked it up. One of his nicknames is the midden, the
But he
younger
said
version of the
after a game
glove.
that he's called Young Glove.
I would go with that more than the midden, but I have heard midden before. It was in a graphic on ESPN known as the midden. It's a terrible nickname. You know what else is terrible?
What's that?
So the Brooklyn Nets are going to wear blue tonight, as I'm seeing right
Oh, they're
now.
wearing those jerseys?
Yeah. Why are the Warriors wearing like Cav-like jerseys that look like the Cavs? You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen those?
Trying to commemorate the 75th anniversary,
I
isn't
know
it?
they got such great jerseys right now, and then they wear like the Chargers like lightning bolt jerseys. I saw the other night too. It's like too many jerseys.
Yeah, but I think you're out of. I think you're kind of the lone one in the room there. You're Will Smith and Fresh Prince looking around for somebody to give him some love. I think you're
To
alone
hell with that.
on those black ones that the Warriors are wearing. Those new team jerseys. Those are awesome, and they're getting rave reviews from everybody. I'm a fan.
All right, man.
I'm not. You know, like I'm weird, man. I like jerseys, you know, but I
You don't care that much.
care one way or another. I will say, oh God, those are ugly. Like they shouldn't wear those ever again.
Right.
But if I'm like on the fence about it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't let it bother me.
I don't know. It's just something to, when you watch something, just the senses to your eyes, just like, that doesn't look right. That's just me, Steven. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's close this out real quick with some non-football stuff or sports stuff that I've been thinking about. You think that I'm an old fuddy-duddy, then I don't listen to new music. But I liked that Silk Sonic album. That was good. And you probably listened to it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Good album.
Oh, it was
Funky.
awesome. Too short.
Yeah, too short, about 8 songs. Bruno Mars and
Anderson .Paak.
Anderson .Paak. Why am I thinking of his name? 2 great musicians. Just it's good to hear real music these days, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, those two have always been creating it. I'm glad that they paired up. They got a lot of swag, man, and it's just made even better when you just get that random Bootsy Collins voice in the background.
Yeah. Oh, Bootsy, baby.
Yeah. Don't hurt yourself, baby. You might be walking too fast. Time to slow down.
What are some other things I would? Oh, Curb Your Enthusiasm has been so this season. The last episode. You haven't watched any of it?
No.
If I had a suggestion for you, just watch the latest episode. It feels like old school Curb. It was good.
Okay. All right. I still need, dude. I haven't watched anything. I can't. It's brutal. I don't seem to have time anymore.
You don't have time to watch shows? Come on, Steven.
I don't.
It means you have a life. It's good.
Yeah, sort of. I guess.
If you're trying to watch something, though, I highly recommend. It came out last week. If you have Apple TV or Apple Plus, whatever the fuck it's called,
yes.
Check out the Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd show. The Shrink Next Door is incredible.
Huh. Okay.
Really good.
I've heard of that one, and I've also heard of. I don't know if you have Roku or not. Do you have Roku?
No, I don't think I do.
Roku is like you clearly don't. If you say you don't think you do, then you clearly don't. Because Roku.
There are things that I have, and there are things that my roommates have that we share. So I don't think we have Roku. Whatever.
I think you know, but there's a new show called. It's kind of like in the vein of like Twilight Zone and Black Mirror. It's like each episode is its own thing. That's all sort of part of a season, but it's called Immoral Compass. Where
I want to say I've heard of that.
Bill Burr plays like a guy who's kind of narrating the show. And
Bill Burr?
I think he narrates about his life. Yeah. And just like it's all through his eyes. And he's like telling the story. Bill Burr is smoking a cigar, and then it goes into the story with different actors and stuff. So that's a new one.
You sure you're not thinking of F is for Family?
I am 100% sure that is the animated program on Netflix, Derek, not Immoral Compass on the Roku channel.
Fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if this is a real show or not.
Check it out.
All right, then. I will.
I'll do an episode on frustrations with your podcast co-host.
All right, Steven. And thanks to all of you for watching today. We will be back on Friday with an episode where we do our wins or wangs segment, where we pick all the games for week 11. And we'll have a special guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I'll just give you a hint. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
All right, Steven. And for like that, we'll take you up to Warriors and Nets. Hopefully the Warriors win. But hey, it's early in the season. Who cares? All right, Steven. Say what you always say.
And it's just our opinion. Man.